Welcome to the program. Nigeria's military is stepping up efforts to tackle the country's security challenges. The Chief of Defense Staff has reaffirmed the military's commitment to ending the activities of notorious bandits, declaring that the days of Turji and other criminals are numbered. Well, earlier today, the CDS visited Maiduguri, where the military has been actively involved in helping victims of recent flooding in the state. During the visit, he assessed the flood situation while overseeing military operations aimed at improving security in the region. Well, the Chief of Defense Staff, General Christopher Musa, joins us now for more. Good evening, CDS. Thank you so much for joining us on Prime Time tonight.
Thank you very much, Adesua. It's nice to be here.
As we have told our viewers, we know that you just returned from Borno State, Maiduguri in particular. Can you update us on the efforts the military has been providing in the state?
Thank you very much. Yes, in fact, just about 10-15 minutes, we just came back from Maiduguri, where we went to assess the level of the operations that are being conducted by the Theater Command Operation Halilu. And we came back very impressed that we were able to handle that as quickly as possible. As you know, natural disasters are unpredictable. Sometimes even when you get the information, no matter your level of preparation, sometimes it could tend to want to overwhelm whoever is going to react. And that's exactly what happened. I think the last time we had such a thing happen was about 30 years ago. So even when the information came in, nobody envisaged it was going to be this bad. But as it is, with the military, we're always ready to step up our game in whatever situation we find ourselves. And exactly that's what the theater commander and the entire members of Operation Halilu exactly did. And we're really very impressed. They stood up to the challenge and were able to provide necessary support in aid of civil authority. And I think that has made the difference. We're really very proud of them.
And that's very reassuring to hear. Thank you so much, CDS. But there are concerns raised about security in Maiduguri following the flooding. As you know, inmates, including top-ranking Boko Haram members, are said to have escaped from correctional facilities in Maiduguri. What are the efforts you are putting in place to ensure they are recaptured? Have you even recaptured anyone?
I think this is really so unfortunate. Well, these are part of the unintended consequences when you have situations like that. The correctional services have published their pictures and we have declared them wanted. We're all looking for them. And we want to appeal to Nigerians to also be on the lookout. Wherever you see them, please don't hide them, don't provide any support. Report them so that we can get them back as quickly as possible. But it does not affect our work. This humanitarian assistance we are providing is also part of our roles in support of civil authority. Primary role there is fighting terrorism, which we are still doing. We have not removed our eyes from the ball. This other one we're equally doing, and you can see we responded appropriately and rapidly, and that is what I think is expected of the theater, and they have done that, and they will continue to do that.
Okay, let's shift our focus away from Borno State and to the wider picture of security. The military has achieved notable successes in the Northwest in recent times, one that the CNC himself has commended and Nigerians are appreciative of. But what factors do you believe have contributed to these successes you recorded in the Northwest?
I think there's a support we're getting from the federal government, from the state government, from the local government, and from Nigerians in general. We've said it over and over that we cannot do this alone without the support of the citizens, and that's very critical. And that's what we're getting. We're bringing out the experiences we have in the Northeast, where we have succeeded so much, to the wider front, to North Central and Northwest. The operations are holistic. Fighting insurgency is all of society's approach. Everybody has a role to play, and I'm glad that the citizens have understood that and are giving us the needed support, because we cannot be everywhere. We need the support of market women, motor park management, the local authority. We need the ulamas, the religious leaders. Everyone has a role to say. We always appeal when you see something report as quickly as possible, and we're there to take action. And I think that also has given us the successes we're achieving. We are not where we want to be, but we're heading there, and I can guarantee you, within the shortest possible time, we'll achieve success, full success.
I'm glad that we can admit that there are limitations and challenges, CDS, because we haven't seen these successes as quickly as we want to see them and as broadly as we want to see them. So if you can identify for Nigerians who can't understand why those successes cannot be replicated, why can't we replicate those successes more often and more broadly? What's going on?
Thank you very much. It started as terrorism in the northeast and spread out into banditry and other acts of criminality. Now, what people don't understand is we are dealing with a massive landmass. The whole of Northwest is over 200 and something thousand square kilometers. It is no joke. It's bigger than most countries that you can think of. So providing security all around is not something you can do overnight. And so it naturally will have taken us so much time to do that. But what we're saying now is that we have holistically looked at the whole situation. And because it's a fluid operation, they keep changing. And what is required that we equally have to change our operations in tune with what they are doing. And that's exactly what we have done. And now that we're having the buy-in of Nigerians, it has made it a lot easier for us. And that's, again, the federal government is doing its best to ensure that it provides the much-needed equipment. Fighting insurgency, we need a lot of technology. Because that is what will make us cover those gaps that we cannot have boots on ground. And we're getting them in gradually, and that is giving us the success that we're seeing now.
So how do you respond to those who say the military is giving excuses, CDS? There are criticisms from figures like retired General Theophilus Danjuma, who says the military cannot continue to give excuses. There are criticisms from individuals like the Zamfara state governor, who says, you know where the bandits are. But as a state governor, he's limited. And so the federal government should do that. I mean, you answer to the federal government. So if you do know where the bandits are, like the Zamfara governor claims, and that there should be no excuses, like retired General Theophilus Danjuma is saying, how do you explain to Nigerians that these are not just excuses you are giving?
Well, we know that the armed forces of Nigeria is highly professional. We will never give excuses. We are only telling you the realities on ground. It's not an excuse that the whole Northwest is 200 and something thousand square kilometers. It is massive. You need a lot to be able to address those issues. And then the worst part of it is that people need to understand fighting insurgency is not like conventional warfare. Conventional warfare, you know the enemy. Insurgency, you don't. That person that you think is innocent and doesn't have anything is the person that really want to kill you, is the one doing these things. Now, we know that they are in Nigeria. Where in Nigeria is another thing. Most times, because of the vast nature of the area, once people see them at a particular area, before the information is relayed to us, sometimes it takes 4 or 5 hours, sometimes 24 hours. These guys are mobile. And because most of that area that you see is covered by forest, so by the time they go under the forest, even your surveillance drones cannot see them. So it takes a lot. And because they don't remain at a particular lane, they are always moving. That's where we are seeking for the support of the individual, because people see them. And as soon as they see them, once they report that, we will be able to take action immediately. Now, don't forget, fighting asymmetric warfare, military role is just about 20–25% of the solution. 75 to 80% of the solution is with good governance, because preventive measures are better than you being reactive. What we are doing now is reacting to it because it has already been there. Again, we have social issues on the country. There's a lot of hunger, a lot of unemployment, a lot of illiteracy that is on. So it's easier. I can bet you in every week we take over thousands of them, but they still keep coming. Why? Because we have so many of them. We will have to look at population explosion. There are a lot of people that have nothing doing. And these guys could easily entice them, give them peanuts, and then they will be able to join them. And so that's why I said it's a holistic thing that we need to do. Now, I tell you, a lot of these locations where you have improvised explosive devices, these are the major challenges we're having now in the fight against insurgency. If your men step on any of these mines, the vehicle in it is destroyed, all the occupants are dead. Now, how do you stop that? If we have good roads, If you have good roads, you don't have to worry about that. Your troops can really react as quickly as possible. Reinforcement is easier. Logistics could be moved quite easily. So you see, it makes it a lot easier. Now, what you do is that if you see a situation where you have terrorists maybe operating 10 kilometers away, because of these IEDs, you dare not speed up to go there. If you do that and you step on any minefield, you are gone. We do not have those modern IED, counter-IED equipment that could detect probably using drones across. So what do we have to do? We have to go on foot and cover every inch of the ground. So you can imagine trekking, scanning every inch of the ground for 10 kilometers. How many hours will that take you to? But men, the troops are doing the best they can. And I can guarantee you we are committed. We'll continue to do what we're doing. And with the support of every Nigerian, it's important. And that's why I need to call on Nigerians. I've had a number of times people insulting members of the armed forces or the security forces. I think nobody will be happy with that. We are humans. We deal with the morale of the mind. If you are protecting individuals and you get those insults, it discourages you from wanting to do more. And that's why it's important for people to know that these guys have families. They're equally Nigerian. They will have been in their homes, at home, sitting down with their families. Some have not seen their families for months. Yet, whether it is raining, whether it is dust, or whatever the situation is, they are sitting down there, they have sworn to an oath to stay awake so that Nigerians could sleep. I think the least we could do is to support them. If they make mistakes, yes, let's bring it, but let's not insult them. And I think that's a wrong thing for people to do. So we want to appeal to Nigerians. Let us come together, support them, because without them, all of us sitting there in our homes, eating and drinking, it's not going to be possible. And let me tell you, the alternatives are more disastrous, because if they take over, I can guarantee you nobody will be free. So it's very, very important, and that's why I want to make that very clear, for Nigerians to understand that because you have your sitting there in your comfort and enjoying yourself, you think those guys don't matter. They have families. If you go to hospitals, you see some of them amputated. Some have died. What happens to them? Always remember, put yourself in their place. If you were the one there, how will you feel? If your brother or dad or somebody that is the one that is receiving that. So I think it's high time that we stop insulting, castigating. Let us support them together so that they can do more.
Indeed, and we do thank the military for their sacrifices. Some have had to pay the supreme price, including the 17 that were killed recently in Zamfara during that ambush. And that brings me to the question of the morale of the personnel. What are you doing to boost troop morale who continue to fight this war? What exactly is the military doing? Are you doing enough?
Yeah, I think the best morale in the military is training, adequate training, prepare them, provide for them the weapons they require to do, make sure that they get their salaries as at when due, make sure that they're well fed, and all this are doing. That's why you have not had any reason of anybody complaining about structure of salary not being paid, or that he's not being fed, he's not being provided those basic things. We do not have all we need, but all we have for now, we are using them. And while we're praying for more to come, we'll continue to do what we need to do. So for us, the welfare and well-being of our troops is most important. And we're also appealing, and which I'm sure you've heard me speak over and over while at the National Assembly, on the need to reconsider the salaries of our troops, to reconsider the ration cash allowance we're paying. I've mentioned it. It is something that I know the country is going through. It's not only the military that is facing this challenge, but I know Mr. President has listened, and I'm sure he will take action. Action is on place.
CDS, I want us to go back to the issue of recording more successes. Given the challenges that we have on ground and what we have to fight, what we have at the moment, you talked about community engagement. How are you buying the community into this fight? How are you reassuring them that this is also their fight? Are they able to trust the military? What are you doing in that regard? And on the other hand, when you talk about local authorities, even the state authorities, such as the governors. For instance, the governor of Zamfara, who claims they have intelligence, he has local security put in place. Are you collaborating with governors to ensure you're able to rid our society of insecurity? Is there enough collaboration? Fantastic.
I mean, it's the best. It's the best we're getting. If you remember last week I was in Zamfara, we had discussed in details on what is required. And He has given us all the full support, and we guarantee him that we'll give him the very best. And so many other governors are equally doing the same thing. For the communities engagement is very important. We know what it is to protect our sources of information. The communities know whenever they give us information, it is highly classified, and we treat it as such. None of them suffers from that. So I think that's going, a lot of them are coming, and that's why I said things have changed. Maybe before now, they used to be scared and not sure what will happen, but now they are so confident, and they come in daily on 24 hours level. They give us information on what's going on. For the state governors, again, we're working closely together. Want to assure the governors, especially our political class, that we are not influenced by anybody. We're influenced by our operations. It's on the conduct of operation, that is how we project it. And so the idea of somebody telling us whether to go on attack or not to do, it doesn't happen.
Okay, you have promised to capture notorious bandit leader Turji and his likes, and you said communities should not even pay levies he has put on them. Are there any updates on this goal of yours? How soon are you going to capture Turji? Is there a timeline to achieve this?
Well, what we can assure you, when I mentioned that we're getting all of them together very quickly, the next day we got Halilu, Sububu. That same thing is going to happen to Turji. And I can bet you Turji is on the run. He is confused. He doesn't even know what to do. Now, from what has happened, he equally knows that even his own colleagues are looking for him to take him out, because he has brought them all this pressure. We will continue to exert this pressure until we neutralize him. And within the next possible shortest time, we're going to get him. And I bet you everyone is out to get him. And not only him, all the other ones too. And we want to use this to appeal to Nigerians. We know why this kind of banditry and terrorism is ongoing is because we have also some criminal Nigerians that are supporting them. There are people that are giving them fuel, giving them food, doing so many things. You'll be amazed if you hear the extent people do. People carry women to go and give them. People carry food to go and give them. We have people that sneak out to go and treat them when they get injured. For us, the friend of a thief is a thief. So if we get you doing all these things, you too will be treated as a bandit or as a terrorist. And so it's important for Nigerians not to allow themselves to be used. There are a number of things we are banned, and there are a number of requirements we need the state governors to equally do. Firstly, to ban all heavy-duty motorcycles. We need that so that we can curtail their activity, because this motorcycle is what they use to transverse across the various states through the forest. They need to ban them. Because to aid mobility, this other one they call ladies motorcycle is allowed. Okay, na pep. Those ones also could be used. We need them to ban unauthorized markets, because one of the things where they get their funds is when they rustle cows, they go to markets and sell them. So we need to ban those markets and then decide specific areas where we can have detailed control, because these are measures we put in the Northeast, which worked. You asked about the issue of the vigilantes and the civilian JTF. We use civilian JTF earnestly in the Northeast, and we are trying to do the same thing for other areas. All we appeal is what we did in the Northeast. The states, the communities were the ones that selected those youths that they know are credible, are sincere in their conduct, have good habits, they are not on drugs. We got the police and the civil and the DSS to profile them to make sure they don't have any records. The military trained them, and we attached them to our commanders in the field so that we do not allow them to operate alone. The state government pays them stipends monthly, and so we work together. And the task, the mandate for them is to secure their communities. Because we cannot be everywhere. We have 744 local governments in Nigeria. You can imagine the number of communities. And like I mentioned, Northeast is over 200,000 square kilometers in size. So it is important that communities get that capability to be able to detain, to deny, to deter any attack on the community until the military comes in. Now that's, if we have that collaboration working together, which is working perfectly in the Northeast, that's why you see we're getting a lot of this thing. We're replicating same thing in the North Central and the Northwest, including the Southeast. Doing that will give us the leverage to continue to work very well, and I can guarantee you that we'll achieve success.
And so, CDS, I was asking, do you think we are closer to the end of all of this insurgency, banditry, terrorism in Nigeria? Is there a timeline you have put in place to say, as the Nigerian military,
very well,
this is when we are going to end this? When is that?
Yeah, because you are dealing with the ideology, you cannot read somebody's mind. But what I can guarantee is that we are putting all efforts to ensure that this is tackled as quickly as possible. Because I don't want to tell you 1 month, 2 months, and then it doesn't happen, and then you think the military is lying. But I can guarantee you between now and December, you will see remarkable change. You are already seeing it happening. And the only way you can measure that is that you see life normalcy is being restored. I mean, we're just coming from Maiduguri. Despite the flood, if you get to Maiduguri, it is unbelievable. I think it's among the most safest cities in the country now as we speak. And that is ongoing. And so that shows that commitment is on. And the people get to understand that we all have to work together as a team, as Nigerians. Nigerians must take ownership of this challenge. Nigerians must know that the armed forces is for them. And we're working to make sure that Nigeria is safe.
Thank you very much. You reiterate the points made by the Borno State Governor himself on this program yesterday when he said Maiduguri, Borno, is one of the safest cities in Nigeria at the moment. We know you're a very busy man, but before we let you go, I wanted to ask you about the recent directive to relocate to the Northwest. Is that directive still in place?
In the military, when we have a directive like that, is implied, and that's what we are doing exactly. Relocate means enhance the operation. We don't have to go and necessarily sit down there because we're at our own level. We're not the ones carrying the weapons to fight. All we ensure is that we ensure now there will be more action in the field. Troops will be more daring in their actions. We will go out, we will fish out where these bandits, these terrorists, these criminals are, and we'll take them down. We are doing that. Within last week and this week, I can guarantee we've taken out so many. And for the last week, we've taken over 20 commanders out. I can tell you the camps are in disarray. And that is another opportunity. Because again, within them, there is infighting, fighting for possession. What we are doing is that during my last visit to Niger Republic, it's important I also mention this. We know the importance of having Niger on our side because we share 1,500 kilometers border. We have 7 Nigerian northern states that share common border with them, common culture, religion, tribe together. So we have a lot of things. So we need them to be on our side because if they are not, it's going to be a challenge for us. We have been together all this while. While I was the theater commander in the Northeast, the Nigerian troops were my best allies. I had the best of support from them. So that's why it's important for them to, because if they seal up that area, the movement of arms, drugs, illegal immigrations, like you mentioned earlier, and all this will stop. And so we are working together. We are planning towards conducting joint exercises with them. We have rights of pursuit that we can pursue somebody onto 20 kilometers into their territory. They can do likewise into our own territory to show that synergy of purpose. So that is working together, and I will continue to do that.
Great. We recall you recently signed an MOU with Niger, and we wait to see how that helps in the security situation. But before I let you go, let's talk about Edo State election, because you were in Edo State yesterday, I believe. What role will the military be playing, particularly in Edo State? And are you not usurping the powers of the police? We are just there on the 4th level of perimeter. We're just providing perimeter defense. All we want is that we want a free and fair election. INEC is the lead agency because they're the one conducting the election. They are the ones that will declare the level of election. The police is the one in charge of security. The military is not going to be physically there. We're not going to be anywhere near any polling center, any polling, but we're going to be far off, but we're going to be visible so that people can see. Because we know the tendency of individuals to want to use thugs, we don't want anybody killed. Like I mentioned yesterday, election should not be war. Nobody should be maimed, nobody should be killed, nobody should be intimidated, nobody should be harassed. The military will be there to ensure that these things don't happen. The police will continue to be there. The police and the civil defense are the ones that are going to be at the polling centers and all these things to monitor them. That is going to happen, but we want to ensure that this happens to be the best elections in Edo State and every other state we're going to. Chief of Defense Staff, General Christopher Musa, there speaking to me on various issues. We do appreciate your time on Arise Prime Time today.